Well, my name is Carl Cooper, and I'm the project manager for the National Disability Navigator Resource Collaborative at the American Association on Health and Disability. And this is our presentation, Health Insurance Jeopardy Part 6, Mental Health. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the National Disability Navigator Resource Collaborative, or the NDNRC, it's the mission of the NDNRC to provide cross-disability information and support to navigators and other enrollment specialists, thereby ensuring people with disabilities receive accurate information when selecting and enrolling in insurance through the Affordable Care Act marketplaces. I always say when a consumer is looking at plans on the ACA marketplace, it's like playing a game of Health Insurance Jeopardy! And I say that because those of you who are familiar with the game show know that in Jeopardy, it's not about the answer, it's about making sure you're asking the right question. And consumers need to make sure they are asking the right questions about the plans being offered in order to make an informed choice. So let's go ahead and play our game. And today we're going to be looking at the category of mental health. If you're meeting with an individual that reports that he is treated for a mental health diagnosis, the question you need to ask is, does the qualified health plan cover mental health treatment? Which seems simple enough. But moving on, if the individual reports that his prior mental health treatment required several therapy sessions a month, then the question you need to ask is, does the qualified health plan limit the number of visits for mental health therapy, and is this permissible under the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act? And what that act says is that mental health therapy and mental health treatment needs to be treated on par with other types of treatment. So the answer to this question is rather simple. If the individual is looking at a plan that puts limits on therapy, such as physical rehab therapy, then it is allowed to put the same kind of limitations on mental health therapy. But if it is not, if there's no limitations on other types of therapy, then there is not under the law allowed to be limits on the mental health therapy. That is many times not always followed, but under the law, that is technically what is supposed to happen. So you're going to want to make sure you're looking to see if mental health treatment is handled differently than other types of treatment. If it is, you may want to think about reporting that to your insurance commissioner, because that would be in violation of the Parity Act. What if the individual reports that she has struggled with a drug addiction in the past? Then the question you need to ask is, does the qualified health plan cover substance use disorder treatment? Seems simple enough, but if the individual reports that this struggle has been ongoing for some time and it has affected her ability to perform normal daily functions, then the question you need to ask is, does chronic substance use disorder qualify an individual as medically frail? Medically frail is a specific designation that we deal with in the Medicaid eligibility video, and that's one you'll want to check out, and there's a link below in the description if you want to access that and learn more about the medically frail designation. But the medically frail designation is something that states are allowed to define themselves and basically say that a medically frail individual can have a separate set of benefits. So if a state wanted to, they could, and the law, the ACA allows them to do this, define chronic substance use disorder as medically frail, then they could then tailor a set of benefits for that individual that allows them to get the treatment that they need under a Medicaid plan, under an alternative benefit plan that wouldn't be regular traditional Medicaid. And once again, I'd encourage you to check out the video we have on Medicaid eligibility to learn more about that if you're in this specific situation. And then finally, the great unknown when it comes to mental health issues. And that is, the question you need to ask is, does the individual need coverage for mental health, as they may not self-report this to you? Unfortunately, there are still stigmas in our society and culture around mental health treatment and people who require mental health treatment, so they may not report that to you. In other words, many times you may not even know that that is something that they're going to need and something that they should be looking at in a plan. Now, obviously, you can't come right out and ask the individual if they require mental health treatment, but things you can do to sort of get at the issue is ask them what type of providers they've seen in the past, what type of therapies they've used in the past, what kind of medications they've taken in the past. And this might point you to whether or not they have used mental health treatment in the past and therefore may need it going forward. And if they do, it's an easy way for you then to transition into asking them whether or not those are the types of therapies, providers, and prescription drugs that they're going to need to have access to on an ongoing basis as they go with the plan that they're considering enrolling in. If you're interested in finding out more about the NDNRC, you can check out our website. You can see the address here, which is www.nationaldisabilitynavigator.org. You can also see my contact information on this slide. You should feel free to reach out to us if you have questions as you're assisting an individual with a disability enroll in health insurance. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more helpful videos like this one. And if you're interested in learning about the other categories, such as the Medicaid eligibility one that I referenced earlier, be sure to check out the links in the description below to access those videos. Thank you.